PAL. What is PAL? You've probably heard this term before. PAL was everywhere when I was younger. For a simple description, PAL was one of the three main analog TV systems in the world, the other two being NTSC and I believe the other one is pronounced SECAM. But why am I bringing this up? Why do I think this is important? Well, in my opinion, PAL makes a much bigger impact on film than people realise. Just a heads up, if you're from one of the countries marked in green, then either A, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about, B, you'll think I'm absolutely ridiculous for overblowing the importance for PAL, C, simply disagree, or D, you'll rudely disagree. To make a long story short, PAL was used to fix some of the weaknesses discovered in NTSC, the main problem being manual colour tinting, but that's not why PAL affects film. I'm focusing specifically on the different frame rates NTSC and PAL had. NTSC does 30 frames per second, PAL does 25, while film does 24. When it comes to film on NTSC film conversion, they use something called 3-2 pull down, and that spreads the 24 frames across the 30 frames. This maintains the original runtime of the film and preserves the original audio. But PAL doesn't do this. PAL has a closer frame rate to that of film, so most films are just sped up by 4% to play on PAL systems, and this shortens the runtime of the film, and without adjustment, it slightly increases the pitch in the audio track. That is the main difference I see in PAL film, that 4% increase in pitch and speed. So when you see a YouTube comment saying, oh, this sounds a bit different, or it's sped up or something, it's not because it's trying to avoid copyright or whatever, it's just the PAL version. In my opinion, the tone of the music affects the mood of a scene significantly. Even if the music is one key higher, it still makes a difference. I think that increase in pitch makes the mood of the music moodier. Really? Really? I'll take a scene from the Pokemon short film I did. Here it is in its original format, before I converted it to PAL. Hello? Anyone there? Now, here's the exact same scene in the PAL format, the one you can see on YouTube as well. Hello? Anyone there? To me, that increase in pitch adds to the intensity. What? No! If there's a happy tone to a soundtrack, I think PAL pitching makes it happier. In fact, I can't watch anything that has a musical number if it isn't PAL pitched. Why? Now I'm going to test you, the viewer. I'm going to show you 10 production logos. Some of them will be the original format, and then some of them will be PAL pitched. I want you to guess which ones are which. Ready? Let's go. This one is in the original format. This one is PAL pitched. This one is PAL pitched. This one is in the original format. This one is PAL pitched. This one is in the original format. This one is PAL pitched. This one is PAL pitched. This one is PAL pitched. This one is in the original format. Now, if you listen to films with and without the PAL pitch, you can also tell that there's just certain notes that you just don't hear in the original format. And these new keys sound like a breath of fresh air, especially coming out of listening to normally pitched UK TV shows. Oh my Christ, does this guy even know what he's talking about? Now, for those who disagree with me, you must think I'm the only one who likes this. You must think I'm solely retarded. Yeah, we do. But what if I told you that there are actual PAL-pitched playlists available here on YouTube? That's right, it's not just me. Some people need to be shot. However, this format is pretty much dying. In fact, the UK isn't even a PAL country anymore, transferring to something called DTVB, which doesn't have that increased pitch. I can only find PAL pitch when films are playing on TV channels. I just wish it wouldn't die. I grew up with PAL and I find it really special to me. But when you see all these new media services that don't include a feature like that, it's just worrying. Now, I'm fine with newer films that don't have PAL, but films from the 2000s all the way back to the 60s, even the 50s, I need it, especially for films I've already seen in PAL. If I go from PAL to the original format, most of the time it just sounds duller. I can't go from this to this. If there are settings to get PAL pitch on media players, please do tell me in the comments. In fact, I have some questions you guys might be able to answer. Firstly, I used to have Sky, a British TV service, and they used to show films in the PAL format, but I don't have it anymore. I haven't had it in years. Do they still do the PAL format? Just out of curiosity. My last question is this. I've been talking about PAL pitch in film, but I have evidence that leads me to believe that PAL pitch had a rare occurrence in video games as well. This evidence seems to come from GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. Apparently the PAL version of the game did have the PAL pitch included. Is that true? I myself don't have a Nintendo 64 to test this out on, and I've already played GoldenEye on an emulator, and that definitely was not the PAL version. I've seen videos of PAL gameplay, and I've also seen original soundtrack videos, and they have the PAL pitch too, but I've never personally seen it myself. In conclusion, PAL gave film an increase in pitch and speed, and to me, that matters a lot. It changes the mood significantly, and I just don't want it to go. If it does completely, will I ever enjoy films the same way? I just don't know. With that being said, I'm out of here. See ya. I'm sorry, but what a loser.